The moment Barcelona steps back into the Spotify Camp Nou will be more than a routine home match. It will be a declaration that the club has turned a page after a long exile, and everything the club has built around that return is now under intense time pressure. In recent days, Barcelona informed UEFA that their plan is to host Champions League group matches at the renovated Spotify Camp Nou, a statement meant to signal confidence, but one that comes with qualifiers and a tight timeline. The club's work crews, inspectors, and the municipal authorities are all part of a race against a date on the calendar that cannot be ignored. On the ground at Camp Nou, the reopening process is divided into phases that directly affect how many supporters can return and whether the venue meets UEFA broadcast and safety standards. Phase 1 would allow the opening of the main tribuna and Gale, SARS bringing roughly 27,000 fans back inside, but UEFA regulations require at least one lateral stand to be operational for television and technical operations, a condition that is scheduled to be satisfied only when Phase 1B is completed, pushing capacity closer to 45,000. Those technical and visibility requirements aren't bureaucracy's sake. They dictate whether Champions League matches can be staged in front of cameras and a global audience, and they determine the difference between a partial welcome and a full certifiable reopening. Recognizing those constraints, Barcelona has sought breathing room from UEFA, and the governing body has effectively allowed the club to begin the Champions League campaign as visitors while the final checks are completed, a postponement that could delay Barca's first home European game until around the end of September or the start of October. That 2-week window is critical. It buys the club time to secure the first occupancy permits and to finish the elements that matter most for safety, broadcasting and commercial hospitality. But it is a stopgap, not a guarantee, because UEFA rules also stipulate that all group stage home fixtures must be staged at the same stadium. Once Barcelona confirms Camp Nou, no mid-group changes are normally permitted. Because a fallback is necessary, the club has already secured Estadi Olympic Louis companies on Montjuïc's Plan B. An agreement with the city services extends Barcelona's license to use the Olympic Stadium well into the season, insulating the team against the immediate risk that Camp Nou's inspections fall short. Using Montjuïc is not a simple logistics swap. It affects ticket income, VIP sales, matchday hospitality, player routines, and the emotional atmosphere that makes Camp Nou unique. Fans long for the return to the team's spiritual home, but the club's leaders must weigh that yearning against legal permits, broadcast constraints, and the cold arithmetic of revenues lost if the stadium opens only partially. At the center of this story is a deadline that will force a final, irreversible choice. The UEFA notification deadline tied to the Champions League draw. The club's internal timelines, municipal inspections, and UEFA calendar converge around those decisive days. And if reports are accurate, the next 48 hours of inspections and paperwork could determine whether Barca's European homecoming becomes a triumphant return or an extended residency at Montjuïc. Beyond the bureaucratic theatre, the stakes are emotional and financial. Playing in Camp Nou again would boost matchday revenue, restore season ticket normalcy for thousands, and restore a competitive advantage the club has missed for seasons. Conversely, committing too early without full certification could force ugly last-minute relocations or penalties. For players and coaches, the uncertainty creates scheduling headaches and a shifting sense of a home. For fans, it creates an anxious countdown. Will the Raw return to the new stands this autumn, or will the team keep singing on Montjuïc's terraces for months longer? For the board and commercial teams, the decision will be measured in tens of millions of euros in ticketing and VIP seating, and for officials and inspectors, it will be about ensuring safety and broadcast compliance without being swayed by the emotional weight of the occasion. The immediate next steps are clear and painfully finite: inspections by municipal and UEFA delegates, the issuing or withholding of the first occupancy permit, and a public confirmation to UEFA that locks in the stadium for all group stage matches. If Camp Nou clears those hurdles, Barcelona's comeback will be a headline the club and its supporters have waited years to write. If it does not, the reality is equally decisive. The club will proceed with Montjuic, accept the logistical and financial hits, and plan a later ceremonial return. Either way, the decision in the coming days will ripple through Barca's opening months, and the image of Camp Nou, empty or echoing with fans, will tell the true story of this tense, expensive and highly symbolic moment.